Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to 1908. As you can see here on the standings, we're actually going to show you every single game that is scheduled for April 24th, 1908. It's because we have 5 National League teams that are within reach, technically, with 3 games or less of first place. In the American League, everybody's within 3 games or less. So we're going to show you here today the Doves of the Phillies. The Doves are okay so far this season. I don't know if they're going to really give the Cubs a challenge, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. Sherry McGee now starts this off, rolls a 31 for a 9. That's a single off of Vive Lindemann, which then causes McGee to try to steal second base, and he's thrown out. 1 away. Here's Fred Osborne now, and he rolls a 66 for a 0. This is going to be a more serious base hit, and the result is a 54 for a 6. This could be a home run off Lindemann, but the first roll is a 33 out of the range. That's a double there for Fred Osborne, and that'll bring up Kitty Bransfield with runner on second base, 1 out here, top of the first. Bransfield rolls a 34 for a 44. It's a fly ball over to center field. Beaumont's got it for the out. There's 2 away, and here's John Titus. He's going to roll a 25 for an 8, and that's a ground ball over back to Lindemann, who throws to first for the out. We go to the bottom of the first. Claude Ritchie now rolls a 23 for a 29. That's a ground ball back to Tully Sparks, who throws to first for the out. 1 away. Ginger Beaumont. He rolls a 24 for a 13 and strikes out. Here's Johnny Bates. Bates rolls a 44 for an 8, and there's a clean single to left center and no little C either to worry about. And here comes Dan McGann. He'll roll a 16 for a 28. That's a ground ball over to the shortstop, Doolin, who throws to first for the out. We go to the top of the second inning. Here's Otto Knabe. Otto rolls a 54 for a 45. There is a little E to worry about, though, and the roll's a 31 out of the range. That's a fly ball over to right field. Bates has it for the out, 1 away. Eddie Grant now rolls a 26 for a 32. Another fly to right field, 2 away. Here's Mickey Doolin. He rolls a 54 for a 45, and that's a trio out there for Bates. And we go to the bottom of the second inning, rather. Bill Sweeney, only 3 hits in this ballgame so far, and Sweeney rolls a 44 for an 8 for a single, and he's got the little C. He's thrown out. 1 away for Bill Dolan. Rolls a 64 for a 22, and that's a little ground ball over to the first baseman, Bransfield. Throws over to Sparks covering in the bag. 2 away. Here's George Brown. Brown rolls a 56 for a 34. That is a pop-up over to Dolan at short, and that'll do that. I'm sorry, over to not to Dolan, but to Doolin at short. Let me remember which team I'm playing with. This Dolan, by the way, I think I was reading earlier today about the worst shortstops of all time, and he technically is one of them. That's a pretty rough thing to say for a guy who had an extensive career. It shows you some of the problems that we have with fielding stats. Red Dewey now rolls a 24 for a 13, and there's a strikeout, 1 away. Tully Sparks now, and he rolls a 32 for a 26. That is a ground ball over to Ritchie, the second baseman, who throws to first for the out, 2 away. And here's Sherry McGee, and he rolls a 53 for a 15. That is changed to a 20, which ends up being a error on the second baseman, Ritchie. That'll bring up Fred Osborne here for the Phillies, who rolls a 43 for a 29. That's a comebacker over to the pitcher, Lindemann, throws to first for the out. We go to the bottom of the third. Here comes Peaches Graham. You remember Peaches Graham. What a great card this guy has. He rolls a 44 for a 7, and there's a base hit, one of the few things that he can do. Here's Lindemann. Lindemann is going to bunt, and the roll is a 52 for a 27, and, of course, that's not what we like to see, as it's an 0-2 count now on him. And his roll is a 24 for a 13 for a strikeout. 1 away. Here's Claude Ritchie. Ritchie rolls a 52 for a 27, and that's a ground ball over to third baseman Grant. Flips over to Knabe for 1. He throws over to Bransfield at first for the double play. 5-4-3, and we go to the top of the fourth. Here's Kitty Bransfield. He rolls a 66 for a 0, and then a 62 after that for a 6. There's a chance again for one of these home run possibilities, but it's not going to happen. That next roll is a 45. That puts Bransfield up there on at second base with nobody out for John Titus. Nobody out, runner on second base for the Phillies. Titus rolls a 36 for a 14, and he gets his walk. That'll bring up Otto Knabe in a obvious bunting situation. And he'll roll a 16 for a 28, which means it's a little bunt over, rather, to Sweeney, the third baseman. Throws over to McGann at first for the out, 1 away, and here comes Eddie Grant. And let's see. We probably should have the infield in here, isn't it? Where I'm actually going to redo this roll And you're here to sort of witness this as I realize that we have a runner on third, don't we? We're going to have the infield in, and we're going to try again here with Graham. The rule is a 21 for a 30. Would have been a 32 the first time. I'm not sure if that would have scored the runner or not, but this fly ball over to Brown is deep enough to score the runner. It's a 1-0 ball game for the Phillies, and here comes Mickey Doolin. And Doolin rolls a 13 for a 39. That's changed to a 23, which is a error on the catcher as the runner stole third base. I think that's Knabe, and then ends up going home. And so Doolin up there still 2 outs in the top of the fourth, 2-0 Phillies on that rare play. And Doolin's roll is a 55 for an 8, and that is a fly ball over to Beaumont, the center fielder. We go to the bottom of the fourth, and here come the Doves. Here comes Ginger Beaumont, and he rolls a 35 for a 9. That's a pop-up over to Grant, the third baseman, 1 away. And that will bring up Johnny Bates. Here he is now. And Bates rolls a 13, gets a 14, and there's the walk. And up now comes Dan McGann. And the roll from McGann, 54 for a 45, is a fly ball over to right field. Titus has it for the out, 2 away. And here is Bill Sweeney. He rolls a 15 for an 11. We love those 11s. It's a single that sends Bates to third. Sweeney will then be at second base after the stolen base. That brings up Bill Dolan, who, as I said before, everybody hates as the shortstop apparently. And his roll is a 23 for a 32. It's a fly ball over to right field to Titus, and he makes the catch. And we go to the top of the fifth. Red Dewin now. And he rolls a 15 for an 11, and that's a single, and then a stolen base to follow up with that one. That'll bring up Tully Sparks in an obvious bunting situation. He rolls a 13 for a 13, which is a foul strike. It's the hard thing about bunting with the pitcher. His next roll is a 52 for a 27, and that's a pop-up over to Lindemann, who throws over to it's going to be Dolan covering second base, the shortstop, for the out to double off the runner. And here comes Sherry McGee. What an awful roll. McGee rolls a 21 for a 30. It's a fly ball over to Brown in left field, and that does it. We go to the bottom of the fifth, and here is Brown. He rolls a 55 for an 8, and there's a clean single for him, and that'll bring up Peaches Graham. Brown, I think, has an 11. He does, and so we're going to hit and run. You can tell what my thinking is like. The roll is a 45 for a 14. That's a ball, and Brown is able to steal successfully. That's why we always check. Graham now rolls a 53 for an 18, and that's changed actually to a 20. And that is going to be a ground ball over to second baseman Knabe, who throws over to first for the out, 1 away, and that'll bring up Lindemann. And we do want the infield to come in. The question is, do we bunt or not? What do we do here? Do we bunt? I think we do. Let's live a little. Rolls a 35 for a 13. That's a strike runner thrown out at home. Maybe it's not a good idea with the pitcher. Too many 13s in these cards. And, of course, his next roll is an 11 for a 7, which is a base hit. Now, if Claude Ritchie had that 11, then that could have tied the ball game. The roll now by Ritchie's a 23 for a 29, and that is a little comebacker over to Lindemann. Throws over to Sparks, who throws to first for the out. We go to the top of the 6th inning. Fred Osborne now, and this is what happens when you don't think things through, right? You don't want to play these games like you're playing, speed chess or whatever. Osborne rolls a 65 for a 35, and here is that little E roll, but it's a 43 way out of the range. That's a little pop-up over to Sweeney in third base. He makes the catch for the out, 1 away. Kitty Branchfield now rolls a 15 for an 11. That's a single and then a stolen base. I'll bring up John Titus, and the roll is a 16 for a 26. Ground ball over to second base. Ritchie has it, throws to first for the out, but the runner moves up to third. 2 away, rather, and Otto Knabe up there now. And he rolls a 63 for a 30, and that's a fly ball over to Brown in left field. We go to the bottom of the 6th, and here's Ginger Beaumont. He rolls a 64 for a 29, comebacker to Tully Sparks, throws to first for the out, 1 away. Johnny Bates now rolls a 23 for a 32. It's a fly ball over to Titus and right. 2 outs now, and here's Dan McGann. He rolls a 36 for a 33, and that's a little pop-up over to Knabe, the second baseman. We'll go to the top of the 7th inning, 2-0 ball game. It's been kind of quiet. The Doves have had chances to score, and their manager has made some odd decisions, as you have seen. Eddie Grant to lead this off rolls a 52 for a 27. That's a ground ball over to Sweeney, the third baseman. Throws to first for the out, 1 away. Here's Mickey Doolin. He rolls a 56 for a 34, and here's that little E roll. It's a 42 out of the range. It's going to be a little pop-up over to Dolan, the shortstop, 2 away. Red Dewin now. Rolls a 36 for a 32. That's a little pop-up over to right field. It's going to be Bates who makes the catch for the out. We go to the bottom of the 7th, and time is running out for the Doves. Sweeney, the leadoff hitter, rolls a 24 for a 13 and strikes out. Strikeout number 3 for Tully Sparks. Up next, Bill Dolan rolls a 33 for a 7. That's a single to right, and that'll bring up George Brown. Runner on first base is Dolan. He rolls a 41 for a 28, and that's a ground ball over to short. And Doolin ends up throwing to first instead of it being a double play. It's just a out at first base, and we have the runner on second base. And here's Peaches Graham with 2 outs. Peaches rolls a 23 for a 32. It's a fly ball over to Titus in right field for the out. We go to the top of the 8th. Here's Tully Sparks. Tully's rolls a 32 for a 26. That's a ground ball over to Richie. Second baseman throws to first for the out, 1 away. Sherry McGee rolls a 23 for a 32, and that is a fly ball to right field. Bates has it for the out, 2 away. And here's Fred Osborne. He rolls a 16 for a 26. That's a ground ball over to Knabe. To Richie. Throws over to first for the out. There we go. Looking at the wrong team. Vive Lindemann comes up now. We'll keep him in there. He's thrown a 5-hitter, giving up 2 runs. A little bit of tough luck on those. His roll is a 12 for a 24. Ground ball this time over to Doolin. Throws over to first for the out, 1 away. And here's Richie. Rolls a 24 for a 13. Strikeout number 4 collected by Tully Sparks, pitching pretty well in this one. Sparks 0 for 2 in the season with a 4.24 ERA, even after getting all these guys out today. Beaumont now rolls a 34 for a 44. It's a fly ball to center field. Osborne has it for the out. We go to the top of the 9th, and here's Kitty Bransfield. Kitty rolls a 55 for a 7. There's a base hit to right field, rather. Brings up John Titus, runner on first. Titus rolls a 16 for a 26. That's a little ground ball over to Richie. Flips over to Dolan for 1. They can't complete the double play, though. Otto Knabe. Otto rolls a 51 for a 9, and that's a ground ball over to Sweeney at third base, who throws to first for the out. Titus moves to second, 2 away, and here's Eddie Grant, and he rolls a 32 for a 26. That will be a ground ball over to Richie, who throws to first for the out, and we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, still 2-0, and here is Johnny Bates. And Bates rolls a 22 for a 7, and there's a base hit, so something might be happening here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Isn't this so much like how it always is? It always seems to be this way in 1908. If the score's anything close to being a close game, then you know in that 9th inning that some real strange things will start happening. Bottom of the 9th inning, and Bates leads this one off with a single. And now the question is, what do we do with him? He does have an 11. He has only 1, but he does have the 11. And that means we're going to hit and run with Dan McGann. But remember, there's a 2-run deficit. McGann rolls a 41 for a 28, and that's a little ground ball over to Doolin. The shortstop throws to first for the out, 1 away. I was just thinking there was a play in the Tigers-Mets game in real life the other day where the runner was called out trying to steal down by 2 runs with 1 out, and the question was what he was doing. They should have called for the hit and run. You got to learn from the master of Skeetersoft, my friends. Here's Bill Sweeney up against Tully Sparks. He rolls a 55 for an 8, and that's a base hit that will score the run. And Sweeney, however, is thrown out trying to steal second. And boy, I tell you, this is a really good photo right here. We're going to go ahead and get a little piece of this one. That will score the run and make it a 2-1 ball game. But unfortunately, we weren't playing it safe with Sweeney. Now, there's a question here as to whether you play it safe or not. And I would love to hear your ideas if you're playing this game or any other game. What would you do? Would you play it safe every time that you have this to avoid that caught stealing, or what? Brings up Bill Dolan with nobody on and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th inning. He rolls a 61 for a 27, and that is a ground ball over to the third baseman, Grant, who makes the play, throws to first for the out. That does it, and there's your ball game. And so in the end of this one, the Phillies are able to win. They're able to win this one by a 2-1 margin, and there's a lot of questions there as to whether I should have played it safe or not. Let me know what you think. And that's the end of this one. 2-1 Phillies. I'll talk with you tomorrow with another game. Bye-bye.